Hey guys, Jessica Shire here and welcome back to the channel. Today I am up on the Art Impressions blog with this really fun, cute card. This is one of the newer Cubby stamp and die sets. So this is called Autumn Owl Cubbies and it has the really large image of that pumpkin house. It's got like 3 pumpkins stacked on it with this really cool gnarly tree. And then you get all of these really cute little owls. There's a bunch of different ones that are doing kind of different things. They have different facial expressions. And I say stamp and die set because you also get all of the dies for this. So you have a die that'll cut out the pumpkin house, and you'll have dies that'll cut out all of the little owls. Plus there's a witch's hat. And you also get a banner that is included that does not have a stamp coordinating with it. It's just the banner die. But it's still really awesome to decorate up your little pumpkin house to make it look a little more festive. There's also 3 sentiments in this. One says, "Who's ready for Halloween? Hey pumpkin," and "Hoot hoot hooray, Halloween is here." So the die that cuts out the pumpkin house also cuts out all of these little nooks and crannies. So you have like a door at the bottom. It'll cut out the window with the shutters, the little circle window, and you can attach all of your little owls into all of these little crevices and have them peeking out, and your recipient that gets this card gets to kind of play with it, open up the doors and stuff to see who's behind it. It's just really cute. But for today's card, I'm actually not going to be die cutting it. I wanted to just create a scene. I love creating scenes. And I'm also going to be using the watercolor fence die with this. And I'm going to be using it as a mask to mask off my Copic coloring. I wasn't sure if this would work, but it did. So that's a little farther into the video. So I'll explain that when you see it. To get started, I did stamp everything onto some Solar White 80-pound cardstock using Gina AMALGAM ink, and I'll be doing some Copic coloring today. So I'm going to actually have some music playing while this is going on. It's kind of color heavy, there's a lot to color, and I'll also have the coloring sped up because this did take quite a bit of time to color, and having it real time is would be a little bit of a long video. This one's already kind of longer, but I'll pop in with any additional information that I think you guys might want to know about while I'm coloring. So for my owls, I decided instead of separating them or cutting them out separately, and since I'm not going to be cutting the actual pumpkin house out, I decided to do some creative masking and actually have them inside the windows. This will be like a flat lay card, so not a whole lot of dimension. And you can see that I've already placed my die cut fence from the watercolor fence die set, and this one is cut from some Inkadingadoo masking paper. The first two owls I just decided to put on those platforms off to the left, and now I'm going to grab out some of these just post-it notes. These are little post-it notes, and I'm going to cut them down and then I'll place them around the windows. Instead of using the Inkadingadoo masking paper, which can be kind of expensive, I just go ahead and use the post-it notes. They'll work just as well. And I'm just centering their faces inside of the windows. Or when I pull the post-it paper away, it looks like they're inside of the little pumpkin house. So I'm going to do that for the rest of them, including that little circle window too. So I zoomed in a little bit just so you can see a little closer of coloring the owls. I'm also going to add some more grass and color to that grass area at the bottom of the scene. And this is where I'll start coloring around that fence. One thing about the Inkadingadoo masking paper, Copic markers will seep through it. It's just the nature of that alcohol marker. And the paper, it's just a masking paper. It's still pretty thin. There is no barrier to keep the alcohol marker ink from seeping through. So I'm just trying to not color on the paper as much as possible, but it's going to give me a really cool outline of that fence. I think there's just a lot of different ways that you could use these stamps. You could do the traditional, what they were kind of made to do with the interactive opening the cubbies, and have it very dimensional. Another thing that I was just kind of thinking of that I thought it would have been really cool to do with this one, but to add little lights behind the lamps. I think that would have been fun too. But the interpretation is definitely yours to do as you will with these. So you can see here that I did bring in a bit of tumbled glass distress ink. I ink blended that onto the bottom part of the scene with a makeup blending brush. Unfortunately, my makeup blending brush was a little bit dirty, so it's not a true tumbled glass color. I think there's a little bit of green mixed into it, but it still looks pretty good to me, and I'm just gonna go with it. And you can see that I peeled away my mask, and now I'm gonna use a couple of different gray colors to really enhance the fence and make it look like it was drawn in instead of just masked. So I'm just going to add in some simple shading with those gray markers. If you want to see how the cubbies work with a lot of dimension, I'll have a couple blog posts linked below that I did using a different cubbies stamp set. There's quite a few in this line now. And also make sure to check out the Art Impressions blog. There's a lot of amazing examples there from the rest of the design team, and they do a great job of making dimensional cards with really bright colors. Make sure to check those out. Leave them a comment letting them know how much you enjoy their cards. It always means a lot to us when we hear that kind of feedback. I did stamp the Hoot Hoot Hooray, Halloween is here, because it is October, and I used some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink to give that really crisp black sentiment. And then for the inside, I'm going to use some medium gray ink. This is from Simon Says Stamp. It's the Smoke ink. This is the one that I kind of use on almost all of my cards for the inside. I just like to stamp the image very simply with this gray ink and add a bit of color into the inside of the card to make it kind of coordinate, leaving a lot of room to write your message. I really enjoy making little scene cards like these. And that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you have not already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Meh, meh.